Israel withdrew from the territory in 2005. You got the terrorist tunnels, bomb traps, anti-tank missiles, intense, close, house-to-house urban fighting, possibly. Derrick Anderson joins us. He's a former Green Beret who trained directly with the IDF. Derrick, welcome. How has the IDF, that you know so well, how have they been preparing for what's potentially to come?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think right now, if we look at what Israel's been doing over the course of the last 2 weeks, they've been softening Gaza, right? They've been bombarding them with missiles, with aerial attacks to soften the target that is Gaza. And so what I envision and what I see the Israelis doing is likely to do a frontal attack on the northern side. We've seen the reports. The Israelis have been telling all of the Palestinian civilians that they need to start moving to the south. Granted, Hamas has been thwarting that by, blocking roads, putting fires up to keep the civilians in the north. And we all understandably know that they want to use them as human shields rather than to let those people go to the south and be safe. But it looks like it's going to be a frontal attack, and they're going to go house to house, building to building to clear these, cleared of Hamas, cleared of weapons depots, ammunition, missiles, and then they're going to be confronted with the tunnels. While at the same time, I do envision that the Israelis will use their special operations forces to do precision strikes, precision raids on locations within Gaza that might be a little bit deeper. But the tunnel systems are going to pose an issue with the Israelis, and especially considering you add the extra layer of the hostages.
Is some of the tunnels, we're told, are like 250 feet down. That's pretty deep. Mm-hmm. Is one of the intentions to try and level some of the destruction we just saw in Gaza City, to try to keep them down in the tunnels, basically? Is that one strategy that they're using so that they can't get out of the tunnels?
Yeah, but the thing with the tunnels, though, is in the past what the Israelis have done is they've gone into the tunnels and they've used dogs. Sometimes they've even just put munitions within the tunnels, and they will just explode it and destroy the tunnels. Again, the issue that the Israelis are going to have is this time around, you can't just indiscriminately shoot into the tunnels, explode them. At this point, they're going to have potentially hostages down there, so they're going to have to actually methodically clear those tunnels.
And what is that like?
The tunnels are very, very.
I mean, what is that like?
Again?
What is that like specifically when you're going house to house, going down into the tunnel? How do they protect themselves, and how do they make sure that they're not facing a Hamas terrorist with his arm around a hostage?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what they're gonna. That is the issue. I do think especially the Israeli Special Forces, the IDF, as well. They are very trained. They'll likely use small arms rather than their normal M16, M4 to go into those tunnels. But it is going to be an issue. The use of dogs has been very helpful with the Israelis. They're able to use the dogs to go in there as almost a precondition. They get the dogs in there to actually go after some of the Hamas terrorists. But again, it is going to be a very, very tough battle. And, those tunnels you're looking at maybe 2 feet wide and a little over 6 feet high. I mean, there is not a lot of operating room. So using the points of domination when they're, going around a corner or what have you is going to be one of the crucial points when they're going in and clearing these tunnels. Yeah,
we've used the dogs, of course, in chasing down some of the ISIS terrorists. Let me show you a bit of a video from the IDF that shows exactly how Hamas has fortified over the past few years and stolen international aid in order to do that. Let's take a look. Well, we don't have the video right now, but it's an IDF video that shows the fact that they would take, concrete that's supposed to be for schools, and they would build those tunnels. They would take water pipes that were donated by the UN and build the rocket launchers and the rockets from those water pipes. So you know that they've prepared for this. Have they set a trap for the Israeli forces? Planning their first phase was the attack into Israel. The second, now draw Israeli forces in, that the Israelis are potentially doing exactly what Hamas wants.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I think that this entire, we've been hearing for the last 7 to 10 days about this ground force or the ground invasion into Gaza. One, the intelligence gathering is crucial right now. We've seen some reports out there of the Israelis, questioning, interrogating some of the Hamas terrorists that they've captured and finding out more information. But again, that information is ever changing. Intelligence always changes. Intelligence drives operations, but at the same time, it also changes. And so while they're going through these tunnels, it's going to be methodical. This clearance is not going to be very quick. It's going to be very, very, very long, because every single tunnel entrance and every single tunnel exit, they're going to have to clear them because we know that Hamas right now has the time to set up IEDs, explosives, any sort of choke point that the IDF or their special forces are going to have is likely to be encountered with an IED or some sort of booby trap.
Well, finally, how long do you expect this to last? Can they accomplish the mission?
Well, I have confidence and faith in the Israelis to be able to do this. You're looking at an area roughly 1 to 2 times the size of Washington, D.C. The tunnel systems right now, from what I understand, there's roughly 300 miles worth of tunnel systems in Gaza. So you have to think about, taking 4 to 5 guys that are going to be clearing through these tunnels. That's 300 miles. Put that to test. I do envision this not just being a week or 2. I think this is going to take a little bit longer. And Israel should. They should take the time to make sure that they're clearing and they're vetting all of the individuals that they meet to make sure that they can take out as many of these Hamas terrorists as they can. What happened 2+ weeks ago was one of the worst days in Israel's history. That'd be equivalent. I've heard some people do the numbers. That'd be equivalent of 50,000 plus Americans being killed in one day, which is just ridiculous. And then there's no reason why the Israelis shouldn't take their time to make sure that they clear these people.
Western civilized values against the radical brutality of the radical Islamic terrorists of Hamas, both clashing right now. Derrick Anderson, former Green Beret who trained with the IDF. Derrick, thank you. Molly?
Thank you, sir.
Police in Detroit are searching for a motive and a killer after a local